Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Alex here, and in today's video we're talking about December of last year, December of 2024. Now the reason I'm making this video is unfortunately there was a lot of incidents happening in the month of December of 24, and probably it's gonna go in history as one of the most terrible months in aviation. It's a dark month in the aviation industry, that is December 24, and the reason why is so many things happened, so many aircraft crashes. And the weird part about all those incidents, they actually happened in the same week. Starting on 23rd of December, Swiss flight 1885, an Airbus A220 made an emergency landing in Graz, Austria due to smoke in the cabin. One crew member was on life support, another two hospitalized, and 13 passengers sustained minor injuries. Out of those 3 cabin crews that were hospitalized, one of them unfortunately died on the 30th of December. Absolutely terrible, but fortunately those cabin crew helped to save all the other passengers. They put their lives in danger for their passengers, which is absolutely commendable. You know, a big applaud for the cabin crew of Swiss. Such a tragedy, one of the crew passing away. Swiss says that it wants to clarify the cause of the smoke emission and the effects it had on the passengers and crew. The focus is on the mechanical parts of the aircraft, such as the engine, but also on the use of protective equipment for the cabin crew. Obviously, guys, we have ways to protect ourselves in case of smoke in the cabin. It's one of our drills. While in training and during recurrent, we learn how to use the protective breathing equipment, and we also learn how to fight the fire and how to protect ourselves in a smoke incident. The bad part about smoke is you don't know actually how to extinguish it. You cannot really eliminate it, so the best bet is a proper deplaning in case you're in the air. Landing as soon as possible. So there's many things to consider here, but I believe the cabin crew, they did their jobs to the best of their abilities, and on the bright side, nobody else passed away. So it's a quite weird way to end the year, but this was December of 24. Ladies and gents, absolutely crazy. The next flight I want to talk about, and we'll take those flights as it happened. The next flight is during Christmas of 2024, Azerbaijan Airlines. This was flight 8243. An Embraer 190 operating the Azerbaijan Airlines flight was severely damaged by what is believed to be an anti-aircraft missile during the aircraft's approach to Grozny. The aircraft attempted to divert, but it crashed near Aktau International Airport in Kazakhstan with 62 passengers and 5 crew on board. Of those 67 people, 38 died in the accident, including both of the pilots and the flight attendant, while 29 survived with injuries. This one is absolutely terrifying. I will just show you the video right here. Alright, this is by a New York Post. It's of the video that's recircling. You can see probably the pilots were trying to fight the bad controls of the aircraft. You can see the craziness and the destruction. Piece of an engine right there. What a tragedy. What a terrible tragedy. Obviously there has to be a super huge investigation being made. And it's tragic because a lot of people passed away. A lot of people died in this incident, unfortunately. This is a terrible Christmas day. Obviously there's a bit of politics when it comes to this particular incident, right? And those are things that as a passenger or a crew on board of this plane, for example, there are things you cannot control. The pilots probably, they try to fight the bad hydraulics or whatever it was. They try to fight it to the best of their abilities, and they managed to save part of the load, part of the passengers, right? They somehow managed to land the plane, crash landing. You could see the fireball and everything. Absolutely excruciating for the families of those people involved. There's obviously the wreckage of the plane, and it has some bullet holes or whatever, shrapnel or whatever that is. There was something external that caused an explosion of something of this sort. But what a terrible accident. The next incident that happened the same month, on the 28th, is the KLM flight 1204. A Boeing 737-800, not the MAX, but the 800, right? Experienced hydraulic issues and veered off the runway after an emergency landing in Norway. All 176 passengers and 6 crew members were unharmed. They say that it was due to a hydraulic failure. Again, this is a Boeing, but a 737-800, not the famous MAX. It's diverted to Oslo after a loud noise was heard. You can see the aircraft itself is sitting on the grass. Absolutely crazy indeed. Obviously, as in all cases, an investigation will be made, and then they will proceed with whatever or whoever caused this to happen. Another incident happened on the 28th of December, the same day as the KLM flight. This time it's an Air Canada flight, 2259, a -8 400. I think that's a Havilland plane. It's a bit of an older plane, but they still fly around. They're a propeller type of plane, and although they're quite old, they still continued production up until a few years ago, as far as I know. It was operated by PAL Airlines, so it was a different airline, but operated as an Air Canada flight. It scraped its wing during a gear failure landing at Halifax Airport. Flames ignited, but all on board evacuated safely. So this is the plane in question. It's a propeller plane, right? The Havilland aircraft. It had 73 passengers on board. It was a suspected landing gear issue, and the airline added that this cause is presently unknown. Investigation, of course, will be held. The incident closed down the airfield for about 90 minutes that night. Airline crew have been unloading the cabin and checking bags to reunite them with passengers. Obviously, one of the main issues when it comes to those kind of incidents, ladies and gents, is passengers trying to take their bags off the plane during an emergency evacuation, which, as an airline guy myself, I condone that. That is not appropriate behavior in case of a crash. In case of a crash, you just get out of that plane. Leave all belongings, whatever, just get out of that plane. What I always do when I travel and I'm on a plane, I always make sure to keep my phone, my wallet, and my passport with me in my pockets at all times. Also, if you have one of those small bags that you put it on your waist, like with the belt, that's fine as well. You can keep that with you. That will not impede upon that evacuation. But taking your bag off of the hat rack, putting everybody else's life in danger on that aircraft, why would you do that? Please don't do that. It is so important. Obviously, they had a regular evacuation here, which is very good. But the next incident is absolutely insane and the worst of the list. It's even crazy for me to say that we have a list for December, right, of things that happen. December 29th, Jeju Air Flight 2216, a Boeing 737-800 crashed at Muan International Airport, South Korea, after a landing gear failed. Only 2 cabin crew of the 181 on board survived, making it the worst air crash disaster on Korean soil. Probably the worst disaster of Korean airlines would be that Korean Air from Tenerife, that single craziest disaster in the history of, aviation that happened in Tenerife I think in the 80s. But apart from that, on Korean soil, this one is the worst. right, on 29th of December. So two people survived out of 181. This was a runway skidding, overshooting the runway kind of event. Obviously, you don't have the landing gears, but I just want to show you the craziness of this. Okay, this is the video. This is absolutely terrifying. It just hurts. Honestly, it just pains me to see this video. First of all, it pains me because everybody, with except of 2 people, lost their lives. But the thing is, why? Why did it happen? Okay, you'd have a landing gear failure. The problem is, as you can see, this runway, it had a brick wall right at the end of the runway, which if that brick wall was not there, the aircraft will continue to skid away, away into safety, let's say, right? Probably you'll still have a big fireball or whatever, but nothing of this nature. They basically just crashed into a wall. So Jeju Air was flying from Bangkok to Korea to Muan International Airport, and it was operating a Boeing 737-800, the same aircraft. Apparently it had a bird strike. The pilots issued a Mayday alert, performed a go-around, and on the second landing attempt the landing gear did not deploy and the airplane belly landed well beyond the normal touchdown zone. It overran the runway and crashed into a berm. That supporting structure, you know, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. This crash is also the deadliest when it comes to the Boeing 737 NG, right? The next generation, the Dash 800. Now the airline is under intense government and public scrutiny for how it operates. Some of its operational practices have been challenged, including how it flew its planes more frequently than competitors. This is one thing that airlines have to deal with, cutting costs several times, especially if you're operating as a low-cost airline. You want to be cutting costs, but not at the cost of safety. I think that is the number one most important thing when it comes to aviation. If you look at Ryanair or Wizz Air, there are 2 airlines that are low cost in Europe. You can buy super cheap flights, but you will never have an incident, right? Historically, they are very, very good, reliable airlines, and they're low cost. So that's proof that you can do good maintenance and at the same time keep the costs low. Probably in Europe, the government has more to do with the way that airlines operate, so you cannot really skimp on the maintenance and try to, you know, lower your costs too much. But definitely that should be the priority of every airline out there: safety. However, this is the big issue, that brick wall. I think if that was not there, many more people would have survived this incident. The crazy part is the speed of the aircraft as well. Like if you look right here, you can see the speed of the aircraft is so fast, so fast. It's probably over 200 knots for sure. It almost looks like takeoff speed. I mean, probably 150. It still looks super fast for a belly landing. I'll not show this one more time because it's just painful, honestly. You can see this part right here. It just started to skid off the runway, and that's the brick wall. Wow, ladies and gents, as I said, a dark month in the aviation industry. What do you guys think about those incidents? I still think that the safest way to go around the world is the aircraft, indeed, is the plane. But having all those incidents happen in the same week at the end of December is just something super weird. Like it's uncommon. I haven't seen this. It's just out of ordinary. I really feel for my colleagues in the sky. I wish everybody safe skies, safe flights, take good care of yourself. And in case of emergency, please abide the rules, follow the crew procedures, read your safety card if you're a passenger always. It might actually save your life. Express your opinion in the comment section down below, and see you guys on the next one, hopefully for a happier video.